Welcome to Smales Organic Seeds. I'm Anna Pierce and I farm here at Thornton Farm with my mum Jane. We farm 280 hectares and have been fully organic since 2004. We are organic farmers and also seed producers and merchants. Most of our crops go as seed, which we sell to other farmers. We have a 6-year rotation, going 2 years clover, 2 years cereals, 1 year beans, 1 year cereal. We try to pick varieties with nothing below a 5 in disease, and our main weed problems are charlock, docks and couchgrass. The first 2 years a clover lays either red or white clover in alternating rotations. We sow mustard with the clover as it's a sacrificial crop, as the beetles prefer it to the clover seeds when they're really small. We rent the clover lay ground out to a local organic sheep farmer to graze with his Clins and Clin Cross sheep. We also manage the clover fields by splitting them in half, so the sheep graze one side of the field for 2 weeks and then the other side for 2 weeks. This enables us to mow the weeds and control the weeds, and also lets the clover get away before it's eaten again, therefore hopefully fixing a bit more nitrogen and getting a bit more growth. In year 3 we either grow winter wheat or spring barley. This year we have KWX Stays, a Group 2 wheat, and Revelation, a Group 4 wheat. In terms of spring barleys, this year we've grown Laureate in addition to Westminster. We've grown Westminster for many years now. It's got good disease resistance, it's quite tall and quite reliable. In year 5 we grow spring beans. This year we have Lynx. They have performed quite well last year with us, with good disease resistance and reasonable yield. I find it fascinating that when you look at the base of the flower, you can see a little hole, and this is where the bumblebee has pollinated them. In year 6 we grow oats. These can either be winter oats or spring oats. We've got Mascani winter oats and Aspen and Isabel spring oats. The Isabel are new to us this year and have looked quite good, being really quite tall and lush, hopefully competing with the weeds. We undersow some oats with white clover. We find that the white clover grows along the ground, therefore doesn't interfere too much with the combine, whereas red clover goes up the ways. In terms of weed control, we have a number of different tools. In the winter and autumn time, we use our new CMN Kivik Killer, which cultivates up the soil, hopefully leaving the root weeds on the top to die with frost or dry out. This is particularly good with docks, thistles and couchgrass. Over the years, we have had terrible difficulty trying to control docks. In recent years, we seem to have gained a population of green dock beetles. These are little beetles that hatch their eggs on the dock leaves, and then the hatching larvae eat the dock leaves, fairly reducing them to nothing. Hopefully this will reduce our dock seed population as the dock struggles to have energy to produce the seeds. We do weed harrow early on after spring drilling, but find that this does not seem to make a significant impact on the weed population. We have a couple of cutting weeding tools. These include the comb cut and the CMN Weed Surfer. The comb cut goes earlier on in the season, followed by the Weed Surfer. Both have the idea of cutting off the weed and therefore preventing it from seeding and reducing the bulk through the combine. Winter crops are also grazed by sheep, weather permitting. This hopefully encourages them to tiller and eat a few of the weeds out of the crop. Smales Organic Seeds are part of the European EcoBreed project. This is a European project with 25 partners over 15 different countries, the aim of which is to improve the availability of varieties suitable for organic and low input production in 4 crops, being buckwheat, soybeans, potatoes and wheat. By identifying and selecting traits that is suitable for organic production, such as high nutrient use efficiency and weed competitiveness, hopefully new organic varieties can be developed. This year there are trials in the UK, both here at Thornton and at Newcastle University. Each plot is 4 metres by 100 metres and managed in exactly the same way as the rest of the wheat in the field. This gives an accurate evaluation of each variety. Here at Thornton we have 6 European varieties and 4 other varieties that we have selected. These include Perino, Wendelin, KWS X-Days, Royal, Wakelands Population, KWS Zayat, Alessio, Viva, Revelation and Barranco. Back to Perino. Perino was bred by Sacobra and released in 2018. It is a high quality wheat with a good level of resistance to leaf and ear diseases. It is shown to be very promising with above average grain yields and the highest wet gluten contents. So far, Perino has been consistently in the top 4 of our NDVI testing for plant health, despite having a little yellow rust and septoria in the canopy. It does look promising. Next up is Wendelin. Wendelin is another Sacobra breed. It was released in 2018 with a high flower yield and an excellent resistance to lodging despite its height. It's about 3 inches taller than the Perino. It reached average grain yields in Germany with a high protein and wet gluten contents. Here it's quite tall. It performed very well early on in our NDVI tests, but latterly it has come back a bit in comparison to the others. It is one of the cleanest wheats with very little disease other than a bit of septoria in the canopy. Next up is KWS X-Days, bred by KWS and released in the UK in 2017. In the UK recommended list, it's got the highest grain yield for untreated management. It's shown to be very clean. It's a lot shorter than the European varieties. It was highest in our NDVI tests earlier in May, but latterly it's come down the list slightly, so it's now 3rd with the NDVI tests. It is earlier than a lot of the European varieties, being a few growth stages further on. But on the whole, it's looking quite impressive so far. Next up is Royal. Royal was bred in Switzerland and released in 2015. It is a nitrogen-efficient organic wheat variety with excellent weed suppression. Overall sites realised only an average to slightly below average grain yields, but showed the highest yields on some sites with higher soil fertility. Its protein content and quality was medium to low. This variety is not generally recommended, but could be a good choice in specific environments. Here at Thornton, it has performed in the lower half of our sample. It is 3rd lowest in May for NDVI tests and middle of the road now. It has quite a lot of septoria in the canopy. Next up is the Organic Research Centre's Wakelands population. This is a composite cross-population generated by intercrossing 20 different varieties. These were selected to combine both yield and quality. It is fascinating to see the variation in different heights of wheat plants, in addition the varying sizes of the heads. In terms of our tests, the Wakelands population has performed pretty much middle of the road for our NDVI tests and the lowest in the SPAD chlorophyll tests. I would say it is one of the later varieties and has a bit of septoria now in the canopy. Next is KWS Zayat. This was bred in the UK and released in 2015. It is a Group 1 wheat variety and it showed the highest protein content in UK organic trials and the highest Group 1 untreated grain yield on the recommended list. It has been consistently 3rd or 4th in our NDVI testing. However, it has been in the bottom half of the SPAD testing. It has suffered quite badly with yellow rust on the flag leaf and in the canopy. Next is Eliseo, which is quite tall and got quite long awns in comparison to the others. It was bred in Austria and released in 2016 as a high-quality wheat. It was selected under conventional conditions, but has been recently included in various organic wheat trials, both in Austria and in Germany, due to its plant height and baking quality. It produced average grain yields in both Germany and in Austria. In terms of our testing, it is performed in the lower half in terms of NDVI testing, being last in the June testing. In terms of the SPAD chlorophyll testing, it is about the middle of the pack. It does not have any major disease, just a little bit of yellow rust and septoria in the canopy. Next is Viva, a relatively old variety, bred in Switzerland and released in 2005. It is a high-quality wheat that has been used in organic trials in Switzerland, Germany and Austria for many years. The yield is significantly below average, and therefore this variety is recommended only in cases where high quality is rewarded or the yield is limited due to low soil fertility. In terms of our tests, it has either performed last or second last in all of the NDVI tests, and it is performed fairly middle for the SPAD chlorophyll tests. It has a little bit of septoria in the canopy. The heads are quite long and thin. Next is Revelation, a variety that we have grown here at Thornton now for many years and had great success with. It is a Lima grain variety that was released in 2013. It is a soft Group 4 variety with good disease resistance. In terms of our testing, initially in May, the NDVI test showed that it was lower than average, but this has improved, and through the June tests it has become second. It is also top in the SPAD chlorophyll tests. It does have yellow rust and septoria in the canopy, but is quite short in comparison to the European varieties, but has very consistent head sizes. It appears to be slightly later than some of the other varieties. Lastly in our trials is Barranco. This was bred by Sacobra and released in 2016 in Germany. It is a high quality, high yielding wheat. Although Barranco was selected under conventional conditions, the high level of quality qualifies it as a test variety in organic trials. In our trials, we have found it to be the shortest, have the most disease, and have small seed head sizes. Despite being second in the SPAD chlorophyll testing, it has performed in the lower half of all of the NDVI tests. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you have found it interesting. Please follow our harvest results either on the Facebook EcoBreed page, Twitter, or on the EcoBreed website www.ecobreed.eu. Thank you.